Welcome to Sissygram Lesbian Stories. Step into the world of lesbian romance and queer love, where we unpack the most exciting moments and delve into intricate lesbian relationships. If you like my voice, then hit the like button and subscribe our channel for daily videos. Now, let's start the story. Hello, my name is Emily. I'm 40 years old and live in an upscale neighborhood in America. On the surface, my life seems idyllic: wealth, comfort, and a fulfilling job with a renowned NGO dedicated to supporting underprivileged communities. Yet, beneath this polished exterior lies a truth I seldom share. I live alone. This solitude was a choice I made after my marriage fell apart. My ex-husband and I couldn't bridge the growing chasm between us, especially when it came to my unwavering passion for social work. He never truly understood why I devoted so much of myself to helping others, and eventually our differences became insurmountable. Since then, I've built a life defined by independence, but sometimes it feels like I'm merely going through the motions. Then came a day that changed everything. It started like any other afternoon at the NGO. Routine, predictable. That's when I met Claire. She was a woman in her early 40s, not much older than me, but our lives couldn't have been more different. Frail and dressed in threadbare clothing, her eyes carried the weight of unspeakable pain and hunger. She had come seeking help, but sadly, our organization's resources were stretched too thin. I watched her leave with nothing but tears streaming down her face. That image of her haunted me for the rest of the day. Later that evening, her face remained etched in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to do something. I realized that, while the NGO couldn't assist her, I had the personal means to help. The very next day, I approached her and asked if she'd consider working as my housekeeper. Her response is something I will never forget. Her lips trembled, tears flowed freely down her cheeks, and she nodded, barely able to speak. "Thank you, ma'am," she whispered. "I'll do my best." The following morning, Claire arrived at my home, clutching a small, worn bag that likely held all she owned. She wore the same tattered clothes as before, and her hollow cheeks betrayed her hunger. Before I could even assign her any tasks, she hesitated and softly asked, "Mom, could I have something to eat? I haven't had anything since yesterday." Her words hit me like a lightning bolt. I hurried to prepare a hot meal for her and watched as she ate with an intensity and gratitude I'd never witnessed before. That moment reshaped my understanding of privilege. I had never truly appreciated the value of something as simple as food. After she finished, I showed her around the house and explained her duties. Despite her frail appearance, Claire approached her work with diligence and care. By evening, my home sparkled in a way it hadn't in years. Impressed, I asked her where she lived. Her answer stunned me. "I don't have a home," she said softly. "I've been sleeping in the park, braving the cold nights and hunger." I immediately offered her a room in my house, but she shook her head, her eyes filled with quiet determination. "Ma'am, I will only stay here when I can afford to pay you rent," she said firmly. Her dignity and self-respect left me speechless. How could someone with so little hold on to such immense pride? That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a mix of admiration and guilt. I resolved to do everything I could to support her. Over the weeks that followed, Claire settled seamlessly into her role. She prepared delicious meals, kept the house in immaculate condition, and greeted me every evening with a warm smile and a glass of water. Yet, I couldn't help but worry. Where did she go every night? Was she safe? One weekend, I decided to stay home instead of going to work. That morning, as Claire prepared breakfast, I heard a sharp cry from the kitchen. Rushing in, I found her clutching her hand and accidentally cut herself while chopping vegetables. I quickly tended to her wound and offered her a glass of water. For the first time, our eyes truly met. In her gaze, I saw gratitude, strength, and a profound, unspoken sorrow. Later that day, I gently asked about her past. At first, she hesitated, but eventually, her story came pouring out. Claire had once been a loving wife and mother. After her husband's untimely death, her life spiraled into chaos. Her son's prolonged illness drained her finances, leaving her destitute. She lost everything: her home, her dignity, and almost her will to live. Her story moved me to tears. From that day forward, I made it my mission to protect her and give her the life she deserved. Over time, Claire became more than just a housekeeper. She became a companion, a confidant, and a friend. One evening, she nervously approached me with a request. "Mom," she began hesitantly, "I've saved enough now. Could I rent the room you offered earlier?" Her humility overwhelmed me. Without hesitation, I agreed. From that moment, Claire officially became part of my home. Our connection deepened as we shared our fears, dreams, and pasts. She became an integral part of my life, encouraging me to take better care of myself and even helping with my work. We started spending evenings together, watching movies, cooking, and hosting small dinner parties. Gradually, I realized just how much joy her presence brought into my life. The loneliness I had once carried began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of warmth and companionship. Then, one evening, as we sat watching the sunset, I mustered the courage to confess something that had been growing in my heart. "Claire," I began, my voice trembling, "I've never felt this way before, but I think I've fallen in love with you." Her eyes widened in shock, and for a moment she said nothing. I feared I had ruined everything, but then tears filled her eyes, and she whispered, "Emily, I felt the same way for a while now, but I was too afraid to say it." From that day on, our relationship blossomed into something extraordinary. We became true partners, supporting and uplifting each other through every challenge. Claire brought purpose and joy into my life in ways I never knew I needed. Years have passed since Claire first walked into my life. Today, we live together in happiness, cherishing the love and companionship we've found. Our journey has not been without its obstacles, but it has taught me one invaluable truth. True wealth lies not in possessions or prestige, but in the connections we nurture and the love we share. Claire's resilience and kindness remind me daily of the importance of gratitude and humility. Together, we've proven that love knows no boundaries, neither age, nor gender, nor circumstance. Life is unpredictable, but sometimes, in the most unexpected ways, it gives us exactly what we need. This is where the story ends. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe Sissygram Lesbian Stories and like the video. Also share your experience to motivate others and learn from your experience. We have spent hours to make such content for you. Kindly share with your social media groups to reach more. Thank you. I will see you with next story on this channel. Stay tuned.